Are you telling me that after mentioning that this poor son of a bitch got killed and it looks like it was poison from a snake bite, are you telling me that at this point a giant snake shows up?
That's what I'm telling you.
Book of the year!
You're listening to Pixel It, because the only thing better than playing a video game is reading about one. On today's episode, we delve further into the world of S.D. Perry's Resident Evil: The Umbrella Conspiracy. As a content warning, this episode will contain spoilers, as well as discussion of gore and coarse language. And now, on with the show. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel It. I'm Kevin, and with me, as always, is Phil.
Hello.
And Phil is feeling the effects of, he just got his second COVID shot, so he's going to be a little flu-y feeling tonight, he said. I
don't feel so good, but I'm alive, damn it. I'm alive, and you can't kill me with a little needle. You can just make me feel vaguely miserable.
No, you're not going to kill him with COVID either. So if you were
not anymore,
if you were planning on sneaking it into his the cured meats that he consumes,
too late, motherfuckers. You can't beat me.
No. We're continuing on with Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles. Conspiracy. I think Umbrella Chronicles was actually something else.
That would be pretty cool. Oh yeah, is that it's a comic book, isn't it?
It's either a comic book or one of those side games. I don't know. I feel like there's Oh no, there's Umbrella Academy. Is that what you're thinking of?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And we're gonna just move along to chapter 12 of Resident Evil. We start with Jill. What is she doing in this chapter? It's been so long since I read chapter 12.
She's searching through the rooms, like you do for more puzzle pieces.
Like you do. I think you find the ammo and whatnot. She found some more shotgun shells.
No red herbs, nothing like that. But yeah, they don't do the herb thing in this book.
You know what? I was actually surprised. I got to the end and I was like, they didn't actually ever reference the herbs, and I am I'm moderately disappointed in that.
See, I'm moderately approving.
You approve that they didn't try to that she didn't try to force the herbs into it.
Right. There were enough Easter eggs. We didn't have to do any more. It's fine. It's fine. But I do think it's funny. I think this chapter almost immediately, basically, Jill points out in her own head, in her internal monologue, if you will, that by her estimation, she thinks there's about 2 months worth of dust on everything in this sitting room that she's in.
Mm-hmm.
And she figures out that kind of coincides with when the attacks started. So basically she's like, okay, 2 months ago, these attacks started. And no one's been in this room for 2 months. Now, here's the thing. I am a guy. I do not dust.
Right.
I live in a new place with my fiance now. We moved in right after New Year's. So we've been here a handful of months, definitely more than 2. And I haven't dusted anything. And maybe it's just Jill's sense of you should definitely dust, you sleazy scumbag. I'm looking around and 2 months worth of dust doesn't sound like much to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if there is is that an imperial measurement, like a month of dust? And by any learned person could eyeball something and say, that is clearly 2 months of dust.
There appears to be 3.5 months worth of dust here. Let's
yeah.
That coincides with that.
That coincides with the girls were attacked. I don't know. I don't know
why I drew the line at that. Like
it's like zombies, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody being able to eyeball 2 months worth of dust, that's pushing
it. That's pushing it. I don't care if you're stars or not.
It might sound far-fetched, as Jill says, then in that thought to herself, something that transformed them into flesh-eating ghouls. that's a bit far-fetched. And I think it's funny that like we have different characters at different levels of acceptance now. So like Chris and Rebecca are like, yes, it's zombies. It's like zombies, like the fucking movie. And then Jill is like, nah, I don't know if I believe it.
Jill's zombie agnostic, like she's to the side. Like she's the, Chris and Rebecca are like zombie Presbyterians, and she's like a zombie. I sleep in on Sundays.
Yeah. She goes to brunch.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really the better thing to do anyway. So, because then you can drink while you eat breakfast. It's pretty good.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, I do think it was interesting. She crushes one of the zombies' heads, and while she does this, she kind of ruminates on the idea that the zombies are victims of this whole thing,
which is it's something that has never actually been posited really in Resident Evil. Like nobody's said that outright, so I actually kind of like the fact that she does. But it's almost like this in my head. I almost think of it as like what's the guy who directed Royal Tenenbaums?
Wes Anderson.
Yeah, it's like a Wes Anderson moment of just like a perfectly symmetrical shot of her in the center of the frame, just like crushing a zombie head under her boot while her voiceover is debating the victimhood of the zombies.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, and you gotta say it's interesting because usually in zombie entertainment, that's a weird word to say out loud, but in zombie entertainment, generally the connection people get to that idea comes from a personal one. Like, oh no, my best friend's a zombie, my mom's a zombie, oops, my kid's a zombie. And she's able to get there in a super generalistic sort of way. So,
right.
That I thought that was kind of interesting. You don't hear that very often.
Yeah, I had that highlighted as well. I was like, this is an interesting little passage here.
Yeah. But I think Perry basically had to have her thinking thoughts like these because, when it comes down to it, if you're making a novelization of a Resident Evil game, you really need a lot of internal monologue because a lot of it is just, it's like quiet, run, boss.
Yes.
And it just, that's, and much like the game, the chapters are kind of following a pattern here now.
Right.
We're in a room. We kill a zombie. We find a puzzle piece. Sometimes one happens before the other, and we have a lot of deep thought or discussion. If
a
we're
lot
with
of
somebody.
Rumination, yeah. So what I really liked was the moment in which she solves a puzzle just by breaking the puzzle.
Right.
And it was like
nice touch.
This was a nice touch because that's like, okay, that's how somebody would actually do it. At a certain point, they wouldn't just sit there and try to play the games. They would be like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to break it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would do that. I like puzzles. And even that moment, I'm like, I'm being chased by zombies. How do I snap this thing in half?
Right.
The fastest. That's got to take less time. And it'll make me feel better,
So so basically, Jill walks into a room. There's a puzzle where she has to press a button, but it's clear that if she presses the button, like, I don't know, the room is going to fill with gas or whatever. So instead of basically solving the puzzle, she takes a gun and she just cracks the glass case open.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Jill, all our time is valuable. I'm with you, sister. That's fine.
And then she thinks to herself, she smiled back at it, pleased with her solution. Apparently, some of the house's tricks could be worked around, provided she ignored a few rules of fair play. Which, quite honestly, I mean, I would like that if Resident Evil occasionally let me just ignore the rules.
If there were alternate options, like you could figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that they have to make breaking it easy. But give it some gameplay. That'd be fun because who among us who've played Resident Evil haven't wanted to just break a damn puzzle in half and go, all right, just give me the candy, damn it. Give me the candy.
Exactly. And you know what it kind of reminds me of is, and this would possibly be too much work for developing a Resident Evil game, but it reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
Oh, what a good game.
Such a good game. Do you remember how there's 3 different paths to play within the game?
I only ever I don't think I ever knew that until I was older.
So there you can play it as puzzle solving. You could play it as Indy is just kind of punching his way through, or you could play through it using teamwork. And basically, for most puzzles, you would control 2 characters. Indiana and I believe it was Sophia Hapgood was like the femme fatale to Indy in that game. Yeah, it's really fascinating, and it allows you those 3 different ways to attack a given situation. Now, Resident Evil, it's usually like, okay, there's just that one way where it wants you to solve the puzzle. It would be interesting if there were more options, but it's sort of like the book presents. But I digress. Now
I'm thinking of Indiana Jones, Quest for Atlantis.
It is a solid game. So we do a scene change, and now we're with Rebecca and Chris, and they have found the mutilated body of Richard Aiken.
And it's very sad.
Very sad. I
can't emphasize enough how sad it is, you guys.
We knew Richard so well. I want to say it depended on who you found Richard with. You had a chance to like save him momentarily.
Okay.
In the original. I believe if you were Chris and you had Rebecca as your partner, you could create an antidote to like keep him alive a little bit longer. I might be misremembering that. But then in the remake, there actually was a way where you could save Richard and patch him up, and he's like up and at him, and he's like, okay, he's another dude in the house now, until later. He dies no matter what. Richard is not.
I was about to say, like, you can't tell me that he makes it.
He is not one of the survivors. So
no,
it's a fixed point in time that he dies. It's just how he dies.
He's going one way or the other.
So, but in the book, obviously, it's basically he's dead. You know, SD Perry was like, you know what? We don't need to spend any time with this guy.
We got enough, man.
They find him dead.
The fact that it's sad is good enough for me.
Yeah.
And now this is an interesting one though, because they found a lot of bodies of the Bravos. You know, they found a lot of bodies. This is the first one that Rebecca points out that he appears to have been poisoned, like a snake bite or something.
Right, because
somewhere a foreshadowing angel gets its wings.
Exactly. So a foreshadowing angel gets its wings because the wounds that he had would not have been enough to kill him.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that wasn't enough. And then they do the most plausible thing, the most obvious thing. They split up. They split up because, you know, that's what they're trained for.
Rebecca has a gun now. And she's a star.
Oh, well, in that case.
It doesn't matter that this is her first mission. By the way, I think it's really fascinating how you kind of like reconcile Rebecca in this book and the original version of Resident Evil with the Rebecca from the remake, because eventually she's like, there's Resident Evil 0. There's an entire game dedicated to her as a playable character.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Resident Evil 0 is set right before the events of Resident Evil 1, and it's Rebecca having been separated from the beta team.
The betas. And thank God, too, 'cause she doesn't want to be surrounded by a bunch of cucks.
Fighting her way to the mansion. Within the game universe, she's a lot more experienced with dealing with the zombies than even like Chris and Jill are at this point, because she already had to deal with it once.
She's had her whole adventure.
She had her whole adventure already. Another tangent. Richard's dead.
Richard.
Poor Richard. I highlighted something where Chris thought Rebecca was turning out to be more useful than he could have possibly imagined.
Hands. Let's see your hands, Chris.
Well, what I'm thinking is like, God, what an arrogant motherfucker.
He is, yeah. It's like, I know you're a highly trained, you know, chemist and soldier and fighter and you know, blah, 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 but you really have come in handy. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness you're not useless.
Right. You just imagine, here's a little condescending pat on the head. Good job. Proud of you.
So yeah, they split up and Chris goes into the little attic room. And my favorite line of this whole thing is, "Oh shit, that's a snake."
Wait a minute. Kevin, are you telling me that after mentioning that this poor son of a bitch got killed and it looks like it was poison from a snake bite, are you telling me that at this point a giant snake shows up?
That's what I'm telling you. And
Book
Chris
of the year. I don't even need to know what other books came out in 1996. Was it 96?
98 was the book.
98? Damn it. All right, yeah, okay. Well, 98. I need to know even less then. Book of the year.
Book of the year.
Magnificent.
So foreshadowing paid off immediately. I don't even know if Chekhov could have foreseen that efficient use of his so-called gun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I want to read a little, because here's the thing. I think that she does a really good job. The author does a really good job with describing the monsters and the gribbly bits and all that shit. So I like this part. And a dark cylinder shot out of the opening lightning fast. It was as big around as a dinner plate, and it hit the wall inches from his right leg, wood crunching from the impact. And that's where he says, "Holy shit, that's a snake!" All capital letters. All capital letters. I like that. In real time, I have to wonder how long this fight sequence took place. How long it took.
Yeah, it's I like to I would say I imagine it in like D&D turns where like each turn is considered 6 seconds.
Sure.
And I think there's like maybe 3 turns between them or something like that, 3 or 4.
Right.
So I'm going to say this whole sequence actually plays out in 18 to 24 seconds real time.
Pretty quick.
Just using my Dungeons and Dragons math.
He kills the shit out of that snake and does it, by the way, just in time for Jailbait Galore to see him being a badass. Like, she shows up at just the right time for him to be like, "Yeah, well, sometimes you just got to kill snakes. It's just what I do. Sometimes it was me or the snake, so only one of us is going down. It wasn't going to be me. Anyway, you're 18, yeah.
You're good, right?
Yeah, it's we're cool, yeah.
Oh, Chris, you Lothario.
Oh, you wacky young man. He's just boys being boys, man. That's all. You
say that, and it actually, I literally, my skin crawled.
That's what I'm here for. That, I believe, is why you asked me to co-host this.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to make your skin crawl.
They kind of like, just admire the dead snake for a while.
Yeah, which I'm such a geek. I'd be like, I would probably get killed by the reflex of a dead zombie or a giant snake, because I'm such a geek. Like, if I saw a dead zombie snake, I'd be like on my hands and knees, like my face right next to it, just going, "Oh my god, do you see this? I'm never going to see this again." And like one last little leap would happen, and my head would be torn from my body.
A death rattle, and it just like goes.
Yeah, and it would be and in the movie it would be played for comic effect. That's how I would die. I wouldn't even have a solemn fucking death. I would die because I was the idiot who got too close to the snake, and my last words would be, "No, man, it's fine. He's not," and that would be it. So
you know what? And it would be basically the moment in Deep Blue Sea. With Sam Jackson.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's and I think it's important. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. I'm a humble man. I've lived my life. I know what I bring to the table. I recognize that in a horror movie, I would die in a comical fashion, possibly the only person to do it. And that's okay, man. I can live with that. That's all right.
You're totally fine with it.
Yeah, man. Like, and come on, if everyone's gonna kick the bucket. Who doesn't want to, die and get to the afterlife and be like, "Yeah, giant snake, pretty cool." Yeah, at this point, Chris and Rebecca find Barry. Barry returns. and he dances merrily around the subject of where the heck Wesker's got off to. And they don't seem as suspicious of him as Jill does.
Yeah, they're not that good at really figuring people out.
No, Rebecca's a scientist, and Chris is hanging out with Rebecca, so both of their minds are elsewhere. Clearly.
So, I just wanted to point something out. And it kind of like it's like Barry has a real close but no potato moment where he thinks he hadn't seen a phone or radio anywhere in the house. If Wesker couldn't get to that laboratory, how would he be able to contact the people at White Umbrella and call off the killers? Now, Barry.
Oh, so close.
Now, Barry, you haven't seen a phone or a radio. And you're thinking, well, how is he going to contact them to call them off? And I'm like, Barry, how did he contact them in the first place?
Right.
To tell them.
How's he going to call? How's he going to call them to get them killed, dude? Come on, man.
And it was like, oh, Barry, you're so big and dumb.
Yeah, he's known for his gun, man. Like, but now, and this is my hunch. This is my theory on why this, and you can answer this. I can't know for sure, but you can answer this. Barry's a family man, and
sure is.
I am not. You, however, are. You have a family. You got a kid, and I have a theory that that burns a few brain cells out, at least in the perception department.
Yeah, no, I'd say if having a kid were a TTRPG modifier, it probably knocks one off of your perception.
I'd say it would be like one per kid.
Minus one perception.
Right, yeah, minus one wisdom per kid.
I would say it's like +5 passive perception when the kid is around, because you become hyper vigilant to like dangers for the kid.
Yeah.
But everything else just kind of, you're just down a little bit.
Yeah. And I don't mean to compare the two because I hate those people, but I did just get a kitten recently, a tiny little bitty kitten. This is not the same. Stop sending that email. But we got her because we have this other cat. He's just over a year old, and he's just lonely. We can't play with him as often as he wants to be played with. He's clearly just lonely. So we wanted to get him a friend, and they get along like a house on fire. They immediately were just playing with each other and having such a good time. And the other day, me and my fiance were just hanging out, and I had a signs moment where I just sat up in bed, and Emily said, What's wrong? And I was like, I can't hear my children. Because I was just so certain. I was like, I can't hear them. What have they destroyed? What happens next? So, yeah. I think I don't think people play with the modifiers for having children in TTRPGs as much as they maybe should. Where's that source book?
Yeah,
Get that up on DM's Guild.
I agree. It should be a modifier.
Come on, yeah, I think like -1 wisdom,
yes,
per kid. But you gotta have a pretty low wisdom to have kids in the first place. Am I right?
Ooh.
I am a panic. Oh God.
He said,
I'm just too adorable. Too adorable for words. You're so lucky to have me, Kevin.
I am so lucky to have you. You're always right there with the sage wisdom and airtight advice.
Yeah, just right there.
So
tight as a nun's fart.
So yeah, they all meet up. Yeah, there's just a nice little line where something they were working on got loose, a virus. And then Rebecca adds, one that can apparently infect mammals and reptiles, not just different species, different families. And then Barry thinks, it certainly infected mine.
Oh, Barry, honey.
Barry, you're really thinking about yourself here.
I just like to imagine like during this scene, like she says that, and his internal monologue says certainly affected mine, and he just gets this big cocky grin on his face and looks at everybody, and they're just like, "Why are you smiling like that?" He's like, "Oh, no, nothing. I said something."
The camera zooms into Barry's face, and we hear the internal monologue, and then he starts smiling. And as we pull out, we see Barry's hand. Barry's hand is up reflexively for a high five, but nobody understands why they have to give it to him.
No one knows what's happening. Chris gives it to him because it's his duty.
Yeah,
Chris. He recognized that.
Chris can't. Chris, that's his character flaw. Is he can never leave someone hanging on a high five.
No, yeah, you cannot. There's another modifier. Get that on. There's another skill, modifier.
By the end of this, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies and gentlethems, we're just going to have a TTRPG that we've kind of crafted.
It's just going to be about the most anxious, strange people. Like, there's no theme except for like all of these little ticks, you know.
Yeah, it's like
we'll call it anxiety the game.
Anxiety the game. Everybody gets the same stats, and then you throw modifiers on.
Pretty much, yeah. You got kids? There's a modifier for that. Done. Easy peasy.
So Chris has a brief moment of clarity for Barry. Chris just stared at him for a moment, and Barry could see the questions forming in his bright gaze. Questions that Barry wouldn't be able to answer. Why split up at all? How about finding the missing captain? How could he be certain that the back door was an escape? And then Chris
now he doesn't want to split up.
And then Chris says, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Barry's really giving Chris more credit than Chris deserves.
Oh, absolutely. Chris is just, there's nothing behind those eyes. He is just, Chris is golden retriever boy material all the way. He's just a sweetheart.
He's got that song playing. I forget how it goes. Like do 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 do. It's just on loop.
We gotta kill the zombies, and zombies are coming for us. Like just over everything. And then Rebecca shows up, and he's like, I wonder if I should flex or something. That'd be good.
Oh, God.
Probably work out.
I love our version of Chris.
He is the kind of guy that you want to marry your sister for so many reasons. Like all the good ones and all the wrong ones too. So you just like, oh, we are going to tease the hell out of this guy. He is going to be. And I know because my sister married a golden retriever. He is the coolest guy. He's a sweetheart. I've never seen him frown. He is the sweetest guy, and me and my brother love teasing him, and he just takes it in the most gentle, good-natured way. It stops being fun after a while, but man, is it good for a minute. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they find Barry notices that now 3 of the things are in the thing. 3 of the whatevers.
Whatevers are doing the who's-its.
Yeah, the crests and are in the. So we got 75% of the crests action happening, and then Wesker basically shows up. And this is so basically Barry, Chris, and Rebecca, they split up again because of course they do.
Right. Because you gotta.
Because Wesker and now Wesker shows up and he says to Barry, why don't you finish the puzzle, Mr. Burton?
It's like enough. It's a name that's said infrequently enough that you're like, who the hell is he talking to?
Who's he? Oh, Barry. Barry Burton.
Oh, Barry. That's Barry Burton.
So he puts the final piece in. Wesker can get in, and basically Wesker, as any good villain does, he moves the goalposts because now even though
you're not off the hook, my friend.
You're not off the hook, my friend. Even though now you did the thing Wesker asked you to do, he is now saying there's more for us to do, and that my heart just goes out for Barry. I mean,
oh yeah,
poor buddy.
Wesker is basically just that like trainer at the gym. I'm a fat guy, so I'm going to reference the gym like once, and that's it. But it's like that trainer at the gym who's like, all right, give me one more sit up, one more, dude, one more. And you're like, okay, one more. And then he's like, all right, just 2 more sit ups after that one. And you're like, fuck you.
Like, you told me
you
one
lied
more.
to me. At that point, I'd be like, kill my family. I don't even, fuck you, man. Subway's calling.
Yes,
Subway. I went with Subway on that one.
Subway. What's your Subway sandwich?
Sweet onion chicken teriyaki with green peppers and spinach.
Man,
wow, I popped that one out pretty quick.
You know, it feels, I'm not gonna lie. You said that a little too fast for comfort. If you just
out awful fast.
As it just fell right off the tongue. Did you have a sweet onion chicken teriyaki with what was it, peppers and spinach? Did you have one today?
No, but I want one now. I think that was what it was. I think my body is telling me like, hey, fatty, it's been a few months since we had Subway. Let's go get some of those white chocolate macadamia nut cookies you like so much.
And what's the chip that they normally have at Subway?
Oh, I don't get chips. I get cookies. Because I'm still 5 years old deep down inside, and cookies make me happy on a level that Sun Chips never could.
Oh, Sun Chips. Those are Sun Chips.
They kind of put them front and center there, don't they? Like, they got the other stuff, but those ones, you can tell they really want you to.
They're really trying to move the Sun Chips.
Yeah, you got to move the Sun Chips. Got to get them out. They've been there for years. Don't touch the Sun Chips. There's 2 months of dust on the Sun Chips.
Exactly 2 months, and this is a stars metric measurement of dust. 2 months worth on the Sun Chips. Push the Sun. It's like chips. Every day the manager goes to the employees. All right, everybody, let's have a good day. Push the Sun Chips. They're about to turn. But that's every day. They're about to turn every day.
The moment a Sun Chip is made, it immediately is ready.
It's in the process of going stale.
Right. Because that's one of the features of Sun Chips, that they are pretty stale. That's what you like.
Chip.
What I like after I've had a jog is a bag full of stale chips. Really keeps me motivated.
Stale chips that just they taste almost like something, and you're not sure what it is they're going for.
The tea of chips.
Yeah.
It's just like a vague sense of flavor.
Yeah.
But not much else.
Chapter 13 starts out with a fucking letter written by Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. Martin Crackhorn, good Lord.
Oh boy.
I mean, you're dying and you got zombies at the door and you're sitting there writing, God, my dearest Alma. No.
My lost Lenore. He's just boy.
Despite what I thought, there is no Nevermores in the letter, but yeah. So like, there's like,
it does read like a letter home from a Civil War soldier.
It's a letter.
It's
a letter from the front. It's
right.
It's this was written by a Virginian.
Right. Fighting for our freedom against tyranny.
And that oppressor Abraham Lincoln.
Our lunches consist of hardtack and Sun Chips. Please know that I'm thinking of you daily. Poor Crackhorn. He even has a Civil War name.
Martin Crackhorn.
Crackhorn.
Corporal of the 2nd Virginia Regiment of the Army of Northern Virginia. Martin Crackhorn was killed in action at the Battle of the Wilderness.
He is survived by his half acre of tobacco.
He has donated he leaves everything to the tobacco plants.
Right.
Oh God.
Yeah. So yeah, Jill reads a letter from this scientist.
She takes the time to read this letter. I mean, here's the thing. I understand because it's like, and we also got the itchy tasty journal entries. The second time the letter thing happens though, I'm like, you all are really just kind of hanging out and reading shit, aren't you?
Yeah, a little less excited at that point. It becomes kind of like the did you ever play South Park: The Stick of Truth?
No, I haven't.
it's actually I have my problems with South Park, but it's actually a very funny game, and they really do lampoon video games well. And one of the things is that you're on an alien spaceship at a certain point, and you find tape recorders all over the place, and you can listen to them. And it's basically making fun of Bioshock, because I think Bioshock was the one that was really well known for that at the time.
Right.
And just like the person becomes increasingly incredulous at how much time he has to record all of his thoughts while everything's going to hell.
Right.
So yeah, by the time you get to a second letter, you're like, okay, at least this is just one.
He had stationery to write on. In the room that he happened to be dying in, there was stationery.
Thank God. Otherwise, he'd have to write his final letter to his girlfriend on the back of a receipt or something like a schmuck.
It's like the final letter. Martin Crackhorn's final will and testament is written on a stationery that says "dumb things I got to do today."
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Just Mondays. Am I right, my dearest Alma?
it's Garfield stationery.
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say Dilbert, but yeah.
It's like at the bottom, at the top, it's Garfield eating a tray of lasagna, and at the bottom, it's like Odie just bounding happily across the bottom of the paper.
And he shoots himself in the head, and "I Don't Like Mondays" starts playing over the speakers.
Jill notices that it's warmer in the house because there's somebody left a door open.
Yeah, she senses a shift.
That is a total parenting move, by the way, is being like, did somebody leave a window open?
Oh, that's funny.
Across the house, be like, the air is wrong. Somebody left a window open.
Is that where your dad thermostat powers come from?
That is where the dad thermostat powers come from.
I knew it. I knew dads had a heads-up display, like Terminator.
It is a heads-up display of what the current temperature situation in the house is.
I knew it. I always suspected.
Dew point.
I really did. Yeah.
gets down to dew point.
Yeah. Eagle scores, stuff like that.
Yeah. So basically, Jill realizes the door is open and she starts looking. She goes outside.
And she finds herself in this courtyard.
Yeah.
It's got like a 20-foot drop and a waterfall. And she swears she sees some figure ducking behind the waterfall, and finds an elevator shaft that she can make her way down. She's going after the figure because she figures that couldn't have been a STARS member or anything like that.
And she would be wrong.
Yep. And not for the first or last time.
Not for the first or last time. So she does a little squiggle thing down where she puts her back. The way it's described is she puts her back against the one end of the shaft and kind of scooches down with her feet.
Yeah, she shimmies her way down.
Shimmying her way down.
Sure.
So Jill is in one area of the mansion, the after mansion level, which are these tunnels. They're going to give Chris and Rebecca a whole different area in the game. You end up in both no matter what, but I think it's actually a nice touch that they're like, all right, we're going to do this, split it up. Jill gets this area, Chris gets this area.
When you're playing both characters in the game, at that point, you're very much you're gamifying the whole thing. You're not, the second time around, you're not into the story quite as much as you're trying to see what stuff you missed. And with a book, I agree. I think this was a good call.
Exactly. Even though I think overall this book should have been a choose your own adventure novel.
I still wish that was a thing.
Chris, they had been waiting. They had been giving Barry the full 15 minutes, and then they go back and they see that the door is open, somehow missing Jill. I guess Jill came in 7 minutes earlier. I don't know.
I feel like that's a thing that's happened a couple of times. It's someone's 5 to 10 minutes ahead of someone else. Something like that. Yeah,
you just got to assume that there is some time lag, even though for the most part, the book is written as if everything is mostly real time as you're reading it.
Right.
We get a little backstory for Chris. We flash back to Chris's first mission, and he gets
when he was Jailbait Magoo.
Yes, exactly, and he had his first captain, a tough as nails, extremely short woman named Kaler, which it is way too like Kaler. That is a now name. 1998 or 1990s for Kaler. That's I don't know.
Kaler. Yeah, that's the, you can just see your hipster friend naming their newborn Kaler.
Yeah. So he gets the best piece of advice he's ever received. Son, she said, no matter what happens when the shooting starts, try not to wet your pants. I guess that's good advice.
That's good advice for a lot of times.
I mean, that's pretty general advice. I don't know how that's the best advice.
Oh yeah, for God's sakes. There's not really a great opportunity to wet your pants unless that's like your kink or something. Which, no judgment, do your thing. But I don't think there are a lot of opportunities where it's like, just go, man. This is the time. If there's any, well, I guess it would, yeah, if you're in the lake and you want to pee on a fish indirectly.
That's gonna be what starts the episode.
Well, I know. Well, I know what I'm doing tomorrow at this point. As soon as I'm off work, I'm going to Subway and I'm gonna go pee on a fish. I'm gonna make one as straight line to the other as I possibly
that sweet onion chicken teriyaki and transition right into.
Yeah, I'll probably be eating it while I pee.
Right into fish pee. They find
fish
they find some dead dogs. We get a lot of description as to what is happening, like how they're kind of traveling about, and I kind of got lost in my mind's eye as to where they are at this point. Because we're like, and I know that there are multiple like I remember from the game, obviously there's multiple paths that they can go, right? But in the descriptions here, I'm like, I got lost mentally because I'm like, how are they just not where Jill went?
Right.
It did not seem like there was that many opportunities to deviate.
Right. It didn't seem that way anyhow. I don't know. It was. I think I've made it clear that I've kind of lost track of where everyone is, and I'm just kind of like
just on
trusting the author at this point. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm here, man. Let's just do this.
So snakes. But yeah, I agree. Snakes fall from the sky.
Which you know what? I thought we were done with snakes. Nice twist.
We aren't. What a twist.
What a twist. Yeah, we're gonna have it's a quantity over quality thing. Instead of one gigantic snake, we've got just a butt ton of
regular
little snakes,
regular old snakes,
and garden variety.
We don't even get a good description as to the snakes themselves. I mean, they could just be garter snakes. I don't think we get like any rattles or anything like that. They're just snakes. They're just snakes,
and that's gonna have to do.
They're more there.
That's gonna have to do. It's kind of like spiders. You know, they never specify what kind of spider you're dealing with in a scary movie or a book or something like that, generally speaking. So,
right.
But they know you don't like spiders. They know you don't like them.
Nobody likes spiders.
So that's going to have to do.
Well, you like spiders. I know you like spiders.
I do. I really do like spiders.
The thing about Phil is he loves the creepy crawlies.
I love invertebrates. They are my friends. Within a week of my now fiance and I dating, we'd been together for maybe a week at this point. We were sitting out on the front porch and this great lit big fuzzy moth flew up to the light, and I just hopped out of my chair and ran right up to it so I could get a closer look at it. I think it was like a tulip silk moth or something like that. And it was a nice big one. And I finally convinced it to land on my hand. And my girlfriend found out that I'm basically the grossest Disney princess in the world. So yeah, I like them. I like creepy crawlies. I like them. But I will say this. I'm a horror guy, so I am not above using these little guys that I love so much to scare the shit out of other people. I'm not one of those people who are like, no, they're fine. They get such a bad rap. Like you hear that a lot with people who like sharks nowadays.
Right.
Like they're like, Jaws is responsible for killing so many sharks. And that is true. And I sympathize, but I am not that way with bugs. I'm like, oh yeah, man. They're scary as hell, aren't they? Isn't that cool? Like,
isn't it cool that they're terrifying and terrible
right.
and they'll kill you? They will eat.
Don't you enjoy that cold sweat? Isn't that neat?
Isn't that the goosebumps on the back of your neck? It's amazing. Yeah.
Wonder what it's like to be in one of those cocoons, man. Pretty probably sucks. Probably sucks, right?
Getting all spun up by getting all spun up by a spider web
By Charlotte over there.
by Charlotte over there. Probably sucks. And this is where you would insert the GIF from Community of the principal saying, "I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me."
Pretty much. Oh no. I hope a sexy spider doesn't come along and spin its web all the way around my hands.
They get into another building. They hear Brad Chickenheart.
Yes.
He has finally made his return, and he's circling around.
Yeah, presumably while stomping the hell out of some snakes, by the way. Like, they don't say it, but I felt like that was a given. Like, they're running.
Yeah, I mean, Chris
just
hates snakes at this point, so.
Oh, yeah, these two both have serious herpophobia going on. Like, there's no way around that.
Is that the word?
I think so. Isn't herpology or whatever it is, that's like the study of snakes, or maybe it's reptiles. I don't know. You know what, guys? If you know, don't bother letting me know, because I much prefer not knowing. Overexposed to the internet as it is.
Herpetophobia is a fear of reptiles.
Herpetophobia. Okay, reptiles then. Okay, fine. Well, that makes sense. If you got attacked by a giant snake and then a waterfall of little snakes fell on you, I don't think you'd be very welcoming of a lizard.
No, I don't think anything in the genus would the family either would
the family
would be on your Christmas list, your Christmas card list.
Not that year anyway.
So we're in chapter 14 now, and Jill is she's in some tunnels.
Yeah, she's trying to get to this door on the opposite side of the tunnel. So yeah, on the first page of chapter 14, she's frustrated. She's like dripping wet, and cold. It's damp. It's wet, and she thinks to herself, "Great secret passage. To use it, you have to catch pneumonia." And I immediately thought, there's some indie role-playing game out there that will do that as a mechanic. I guarantee you. Like, to get to the next stage, yeah, you literally have to catch the flu somehow.
Yeah.
Like that kind of moon logic shit. I know that's out there somewhere.
That is amazing. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd play that game.
She's investigating these tunnels. She sees a small iron plate set into a stone, a 6-sided hole about the size of a quarter. Jill never actually gets the thing.
It has nothing to do with her.
It has nothing to do with her in the end.
Anyway.
I think Barry Wesker uses it or something, and Barry
one of the two. Yeah, I think it might be Wesker.
It happens really briefly and in passing, but there is a whole separate thing where you have to find this thing. In the game.
Right.
She continues to walk through the path. It's an awkward path. It's dark. She could hear the sound of the waterfall. And then she runs into Barry. Barry
returns. And he's super paranoid that he can hear voices at this point. He thinks he heard some little voices or something, and that just kind of deepens her feeling that something fishy's going on here.
Yeah,
and eventually, after 19 more times of running into him being fishy, she's gonna address it.
She is gonna figure it out. But first, they finally run into another, basically the last extant member of the Stars Bravo team, Enrico Marini.
What a name!
Something about
name. That is a good.
That is a good name. It is a full name. I wish Enrico had more than like 3 pages of existence in the book.
Dude,
with that kind of name.
You can tell he's strapping. Like, it's just a butch dude's name. I'm Enrico Marini. Like, nice, dude. Nice. Can you teach me how to get a girl? Like, that sounds great.
So they find Enrico. He is
he's hurting.
He's already hurt, but he's fine-ish. He's just like not in good shape. They're going back and forth, and he mentions that Umbrella knew all along. They talks about how Enrico got in. Clearly he came in the back way. Like he just says the most obvious thing. He's like, he didn't solve all the puzzles.
I just showed up. Okay, cool. You know what? Fine.
He climbed a fence, and everybody else is like, Oh shit, climbing fences.
Climbed a fence. If only they taught us that in Star training. When in doubt, climb a fence.
So Enrico climbs a fence, and he is well ahead of everybody. He's in the tunnels at the end of the game. Jesus Christ, Enrico. Way to show everybody
he's
up.
Speed running this thing.
He's speed running it. Enrico is doing the any percent fence skip speed run of Resident Evil.
Yeah. He's doing it to raise charity for Toys for Tots, money.
And up next on Games Done Quick, the world record holder, Enrico Marini.
Oh, Enrico,
R.I.P. buddy. So Enrico was already in bad shape. The last thing he says to Jill before he gets unceremoniously offed was there's a traitor in the stars, and then he gets shot.
There's a setup.
He gets shot twice in the chest, and he is dead. And thus his watch has ended. R.I.P. my favorite character, Enrico Marini.
Speaking of that reference, I actually, no joke, I imagined that actor. He was in Game of Thrones. He's in Narcos. I think he's a Hispanic gentleman. I imagined him as Enrico.
There you go.
Good looking cat.
There you go.
Are
you talking about
he's the one who got his head squashed like a tomato.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh Christ! Of course. Yeah. I actually have that. You know what? They're gonna take my geek card away. I have not watched the Mandalorian
yet. Yeah, it's good. I like it. But he's that is Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. I imagined him. And so you can imagine my disappointment when he gets executed, like a paragraph in. So Barry chases after whoever did the shooting.
Of course, Barry knows who did the shooting, but
of course he does.
Of course he does. Barry runs off chasing after the shooter. Jill has a few moments to herself where she thinks, so who did this? Who was Trent talking about? And who did Enrico see? Feeling lost and alone, Jill held his cooling hand and waited for Barry to come back.
Which is maybe the most sensible thing anyone's done in this book so far. Like, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for a minute.
I'm going to wait right here. And
theoretically, he'll be back. He knows that I'm here. I'd probably be better to have him there.
Exactly. Rebecca, meanwhile, over in this
back at the ranch.
And in this other building, Rebecca is going through an old trunk filled with stacks of papers.
They find our latest puzzle piece.
They find a key.
The leather tag had the word alias burned onto one side, the number 345 written on the back in smudged ballpoint pen. So clearly we've got a combination of some kind. Worst combination ever. Probably take you about 10 minutes to crack that one just by going 001, 002, and eventually you get 345.
Exactly.
Done.
So they figure out the password. It's 345.
Unbreakable. Uncrackable.
That is an unbreakable password. And they start finding out something about something called Plant 42, and that they are in Point 42. So they kind of make it. They kind of make the connection. Point 42 and Plant 42 are in the same place, and they are going to have to deal with the plant.
And I love this, by the way, because at no point they read these notes finding out about the plant, and at no point are the notes subtle. They basically just straight up are like, yeah, this is a man-eating plant, so that's what's next. Just so you know.
That's what you're going to have to deal with coming up.
Right. And I won't lie. I was like, cool, I'm in. Sounds
Frankie good. Foreshadowing has just been leaving notes all over the place.
Pretty much.
Subtle scene change back to Mr. Wesker,
who does his usual thing.
He's twirling his mustache.
Yeah. He confronts Barry, twirls his mustache, moves the goalposts, threatens his family again, and then goes, "Here's a basement map." Like,
and it's
good luck.
You have received basement map. Pops up onto the screen. So Barry is upset about him killing Enrico.
which is justified, I think.
Wesker basically treats Barry like a dog. At one point, he thinks, good boy. Going back to the golden retriever discussion we're having, Chris is a golden retriever to Barry, and Barry is a golden retriever to Wesker. That's pretty much...
Right, yeah.
how they're...
I think that stands up, yeah.
I think that's pretty much how they're aligned.
Right, I think that makes sense.
We come in for a landing. Barry is back in thrall of Wesker, even though Wesker killed Enrico. And we get a lot of foreshadowing about the 121s, the hunters.
Yes, he muses on these killing machines.
Now, if I recall correctly, in the game, the hunters would have actually have been seen already. That might have been the remake. I'm not sure though. But yes, they do talk about he does talk about the hunters quite a bit, and he's actually mentioned them in previous chapters as well. But he's really been building up these hunters.
Oh yeah. So they really gotta do a number here.
And with that, we reach chapter 15, and we're coming in for a landing with this book.
And we're definitely in the home stretch.
We're in the end game now, as
yes, sir.
As Dr. Strange would say.
I'm certain that. He would definitely have said that.
He definitely would say that. And somebody in the theater is at this point pointing at the screen saying, that's the name of the movie.
Right.
So that'll do it for this episode. Come join us for the next episode of Pixel Lit, where we finally put to rest the Resident Evil Book 1, the Umbrella conspiracy, right?
The Umbrella Cookbook.
Nailed it.